and welcome to the second session of the Women in AI ML series. I'm super happy to be here. My name is Cyndey Stude, and we are appearing on AWS On Air. Today, I'm joined by Tia White. Thank you for being here.
Thank you for
Tia,
having me.
yeah. Tia's going to share her story, what she currently does, how she got into it, and any advice that she has for interested parties. So,
Yeah.
Tia, what is it that you currently do?
Yeah, I joined AWS about 7 months ago, and it feels like forever in a short amount of time. I am a general manager, and a general manager at AWS includes product, engineering, go-to-market. You're almost like a mini startup CEO. And I am responsible for machine learning and AI for MarTech and AdTech. With the explosion of, digital companies going digital, buyers changing their shopping habits, engaging totally different. Things like personalization have now become table stakes during and post the pandemic. I think it's safe to say we're hopefully on the down curve of the pandemic, but things really changed. And so legacy or older static rules-based approaches to personalize or no personalization was no longer acceptable. So Amazon Personalize is one of the services in my portfolio. And then we're launching 2 new services at reInvent this year. Shh, it's a secret, so I can't share those. But my portfolio all touches or builds ML and AI for MarTech and AdTech.
Nice. That's awesome. How that's so specific. How did you get into that?
So I will be the first to say I have an undergrad degree, information systems engineering and marketing. And I have probably truly forgotten many of the things I learned in undergrad as it relates to marketing. I, I've always had a career in technology, predominantly software engineering and infrastructure, public cloud. I was an AWS customer 2015 and beyond before deciding to join the company. So intimately aware and knowledgeable and have influenced many of the services we build and plan to build. And about 5 years ago, my life circumstances changed. And what I mean by life circumstances, at the time I found a life partner and we decided we were going to have kids. And so 2 things happened. One, I had always had an appetite to do more in innovation, and I've always been known for this transformative leader. And I wanted to really get into building new things with highly innovative technologies like blockchain or quantum computing or machine learning. And at that particular time, I had an aspiration to get in machine learning and artificial intelligence. And it aligned to me becoming a mom. So I also wanted a job that would not wake me up at 2 o'clock in the morning because a call center agent couldn't service thousands of customers who were calling in to figure out why their card transaction may have declined. I have a background in financial services. And so I needed something new and I wanted better work life fill in the blank. And I worked for this phenomenal woman, Diane Lai, who's a former Amazonian. And she knew I had an appetite to do more in ML and AI. And so I went on maternity leave. Prior to that, worked myself out of a job. And long story short, they were building a new organization. They being Capital One was building a new organization, ML and AI for risk, finance, and audit. And I was given the opportunity to learn on the job. So the organization had done a lot of great things, but had not figured out how to build secure, scalable solutions, which was something that was right in my wheelhouse. And it also gave me the opportunity to learn from very brilliant people, some of them former Amazonians, to learn from very brilliant people, ML and AI. I also took some courses at MIT. I was a Java girl, became a Python. Hold on,
Me
wait.
too, actually. I was a Java girl too, and when I joined AWS, they were
Yeah,
like the people specifically I worked with used Python, and they were like, Python, right? And I was like, yes.
yeah, yeah. So now I'm probably not as proficient as you, but I taught myself Python because people think when you know a language, you know all languages, capitalization, syntax, like everything is different. I mean, the logic is the same, but it's like learning a different like spoken language. And so I started teaching myself Python, took some Coursera courses on ML and AI, took some courses at MIT, and the rest is history. I've been in the ML and AI space for the past 5 years. really deep in time series, machine learning use cases and problems. Then I made a pivot into conversational AI. And I'm in my sweet spot now with really thinking about strategy, go to market, as well as how to build badass solutions where ML and AI is the core function. And we're recommending and changing customer lives for the better.
That's super neat. And I love what you said about how you found something you needed to learn, like you needed to learn Python, and you just taught yourself. That is so cool. That drive, that's such a character quality that leads to success.
Yeah. And I will say it was not easy, especially I just had a baby. And so I was teaching myself Python while I was on maternity leave. And so I was off for like 6 or 8 weeks. I can't remember. And so when she would sleep, I would teach myself. And then I enrolled in classes. And so I balanced, even when I first returned to work, how to balance the classes I was taking, being a new mom and learning the business, because that's super important too. You're not just building tech for tech, learning the business so that I could influence it in a positive way with ML and AI.
Wow, super neat. I mean, yeah, it sounds like that wasn't an easy period of time. As someone who just had a baby about 9 months ago, that those months are hard, especially in the beginning, and that the drive that it took to learn that and the dedication. I applaud you for that. That's really neat.
Thank you. Thank you so much. And it's paid off, right? Like if I had to be super transparent, there are not a lot of women in ML and AI. There's definitely not a lot of Black or brown women. And so at the time I could not foreshadow the opportunities that would come to me because I was an underrepresented minority in multiple dimensions. But it just shows that there are people out there that are distinctly different. They don't fit the profile and persona of your traditional ML expert. Now, I don't have a PhD. I would consider myself more an applied AI expert, where I think about how to apply ML and AI in the right use cases, which is, again, perfect for me in this job I'm in now. But yeah, I would just encourage women, all backgrounds, all races, all ages, socioeconomic status, etc. If this is something you want to go after, it is very attainable.
Yeah, that is so true. And that actually leads to the next question I wanted to ask you. Is there any advice that you have for interested parties in
Yeah.
this, women, anyone?
Yeah. So what I would say is, and I'm going to speak to women here specifically, what I have learned over my what feels like forever career is that as women, we don't always choose a specialty. And what I mean by that is we become a master of nothing but a jack of all trades. And so we know a little bit about cloud computing. We know a little bit about cyber. We know a little bit about microservices and API, right? We know a little bit about everything. And that has gotten us to a certain point. But when you scan the horizon and you look at your colleagues, especially your male counterparts, if they identify that way, you start realizing that they are deeply ingrained in something, even if they became the CTO and now they have to generalize their knowledge. There is something, they have a brand for being a deep expert in something. And I know the first probably 8 years of my career, it was based off people telling me I would do things exceptionally well. And the last 5 years of my career, I would even say before that, because I started going deep in DevOps, I would say the last 7 years of my career, I have been laser focused on something at a point in time. Yes, I know distributed systems, cloud computing, microservice architecture. Like I know all these modern ways of doing and building things, but now I can say I am an expert in ML and AI, and even to be very specific, time series and conversational. Now add real-time recommendation systems to that, right? So I am an expert of something. I can do all these other things great, and it doesn't discount that. But to the point you made, Cyndey, I took the time right before my maternity leave, during my maternity leave, and probably the first 3 months after that to really go deep and really know something exceptionally well. The first piece of advice I would give people is dedicate yourself to knowing something. And it doesn't have to be your only expertise forever, but focus on something, perfect it, get it right, exploit it for your own benefit, right? Like being knowledgeable in something. And then you can learn other things. But trying to learn everything, I don't think pays off as you want to continue to grow your career, especially in tech. Second thing I would share is don't be afraid. Someone said to me, "Are you sure you want to make this pivot of a career change and you're a mom?" Abso-friggin-lutely. Like, you can do anything you put your mind to, that's man or woman, right? Like, anything you put your mind to, if you put the dedication, you have the passion, the desire to want to do it, put it, put it down on paper, and then just start working backwards from that. Like, I want to do X by this time. Make it a SMART goal and start working backwards from that. And be kind and give yourself grace. Like, it's not going to be perfect. There are plenty of times I went into meetings and I'm like, say what? What did you say about that decision tree? And how is an XG boost algorithm different than a random forest? And why should I apply one in one scenario? And I had to teach myself all of that. And so, give yourself grace and be okay not knowing everything. And don't be afraid to get a reverse mentor. That's exactly what I did. I had some reverse mentors that were exceptionally kind to me that really helped me understand concepts that you just couldn't pick up a textbook and read to apply it in the real world. And I would say, lastly, whatever you're deciding to work on, have fun. I enjoy what I do. I love working for AWS. I enjoy the role I'm in. I enjoy my team. If it's not fun for you, then you have to figure out why it's not fun. But as long as you're having fun, it doesn't feel like a job and you're at your best. Your leadership's going to get the best out of you. You're going to be the most productive. You're going to be the most creative. Have fun. And then I know I said last, but I would say for women especially, I'll say this: let's support each other. I believe in something called the pull-through method, which is, as you rise in your career, how are you pulling other women that are equally as qualified up with you? How are you their ally, because not all allies are the opposite gender. We have to support each other. How are you their ally, their champion, their sponsor, their mentor? How do we serve other women, our fellow women engineers and technicians? What do we do there? And so I would encourage you to figure out how you scan the horizon, you hire, we retain more women, and we pull through as we are navigating our career.
Wow. That is so much good information. I especially love the part about the drive to learn it yourself. And I wanted to ask you, would you say that it took a lot of knowledge, quote unquote, to get started in your career pivot?
No. So this is what I did. I wouldn't say it took a lot of knowledge. Now, to be fair, I was coming in at more an executive position. So they want people that are strategic and strong EQ and that sort of stuff to kind of round out what I was going to do. But it took some knowledge, but I was not an expert day one. Right? Like, I wasn't an expert, and I was okay calling out what I didn't know, and I was comfortable with that. What I will tell you is you have to know something, but not everything. And I think that's key. If you wait until you feel like you know everything, you have let an opportunity pass you by.
So true. To be completely honest, you'll never know everything. To be a specialist in one specific area is so powerful because you know a lot about something, right? But it's not, there's so many things everywhere that you could always learn about. And that's awesome. Thank you for that.
No problem.
Awesome. Well, Tia, thanks for joining us. And thank you, AWS On Air, for this opportunity. We really appreciate it. And I'm happy to be here. Thanks, everyone.
Thank you so much. Have a great day.